Welcome to the Deal's Healthcare Dealmaking Symposium. I'm Mary Kathleen Flynn, and I'm talking with Nat Zilkha from KKR. Nat, let's just talk broadly about what you see as some of the biggest challenges today in making deals in the healthcare field.
Sure. Well, I'd start with the positive, which is healthcare operates on a very different cycle than the broader economy. So some of the cyclical challenges that are affecting other industries right now have a more muted impact on healthcare. In fact, if you go back over time, healthcare has generally grown in a counter-cyclical fashion during recessions or challenging economic times. The bad news is healthcare has its own separate cycle, which is really driven by government reimbursement. And as you look out to the future, the fiscal issues facing our country are becoming more acute. The baby boomers are retiring. The economic demands on the government to pay for healthcare, whether it's Medicare or Medicaid or other government programs, are increasing, and they're increasing at a much faster rate than the overall economy. At some point, there needs to be a fundamental change in how payments are structured, the level of services to which people in this country are entitled, and that's going to create some dislocation in the healthcare market. So we're very focused on finding investments where we believe we're part of the solution. We're improving clinical outcomes. We're lowering the cost of care. So that's very much our focus and is the underpinning of our investment philosophy in healthcare.
So where do you find those bright spots?
We're very focused on companies that are improving clinical outcomes, saving costs for the system. I think you have to be part of the solution, not part of the problem, as we go into this next regulatory cycle. The other element for us that's critical, particularly as you're navigating, I think, increasingly challenging waters, and in a very dynamic market where we don't have a good crystal ball, no one does, is great management teams. So we really focus on finding terrific management partners. Two of our largest transactions, HCA and Biomet, we have spectacular management teams that we're very excited about, and it makes us feel much more comfortable going into potentially turbulent times to know that we have very good stewards at the wheels of these companies.
Is there a lot of uncertainty right now, especially in terms of healthcare reform and the upcoming elections? Nobody really knows what will happen. How does that affect deal making?
So I think you have to be careful. We would be very reticent to make an investment where the success of your investment was predicated on a Democrat winning or a Republican winning. But I think we don't have a perfect crystal ball to who's going to win. But what we do know, or what we do fundamentally believe, is that irrespective of who wins, irrespective of the political inertia which is there, at some point the arithmetic will overwhelm the inertia. The severity of the fiscal problems will become so apparent and acute that irrespective of who's in the seat of government, they're going to have to attack these changes. And Democrats and Republicans may have different approaches in terms of how they attack those problems, but the result is going to be some fundamental changes. And so you try to find investments where you think you'll either benefit from those changes, the negative impacts will be more muted on you, irrespective of who in particular is making the decision, Democrat or Republican.
So what are the bright spots then? And this is my last question for you. Where do you look for those opportunities?
Again, and I've said it several times, I'll say it again, I think you go towards the places where you feel like you're part of the problem, you're part of the solution rather than part of the problem. So that means better clinical outcomes, it means reduced costs, and our view is you can't control what the government does in the short term, and companies may do better or worse as these changes develop, and potentially the government overshoots in one place and undershoots in another. But if what you're doing is fundamentally a part of the solution, long-term your investments should be successful.
Thank you very much, Nat Zilkha from KKR, and thank you for watching The Deal. I'm Mary Kathleen Flynn.